Just got back from a visit to the Mexican border in preparation for the immigration talks. We're happy to have Congressman Kevin Yoder live in studio once again this morning. Thanks for coming in, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
Appreciate your time, Congressman. I want to talk about your trip. First, I want to have you address Mr. Cantor's statements about the Senate bill. He says they're not even going to bring it up on the House floor. It's pretty much DOA.
The House is going to do their own series of bills, some of which have already passed out of the committee process, and they're going to focus more on border security, more on fixing the underlying problem, and get positions on those issues. I don't think you'll see the House do one huge bill, and I think you'll see the House be less interested in amnesty or a pathway to citizenship and more focused on really our national security and our border challenges that we're facing.
So there's some parts of the Senate's bill you guys like, but there's things that you want to include that wasn't in that bill. So
that's right. We'll have parts of the Senate bill, and I think what will happen is the House will take a position, and what we hope will happen is the House and Senate negotiators will work out a compromise. We certainly need to resolve this issue. I think Republicans and Democrats agree that our immigration system is broken in this country and it needs to be fixed.
All right, well, you just recently took a trip to the Mexico border, so you got a first-hand account of what's going on down there. Why did you take the trip? What did you see, and what did you take away from it?
Well, I wanted to go down firsthand and see what was happening on the border to understand what we need to do in Washington to fix it. And we went to California, Arizona, and Texas, and went right along the border, and it's completely different in some areas of the country versus others. We have a 2,000-mile border between the United States and Mexico, our southern border, and in some areas we've done dual fencing, primary and secondary. We have surveillance, we have motion detectors, we have boots on the ground, and in other places we have very little. In fact, we found down in Texas in the Rio Grande really to be kind of a ground zero area where there are thousands of immigrants coming through. We stopped way less than 50% of the folks coming through. And so we know we have a lot of work to do. It's going to take resources, and it's going to take an integrated approach with fencing, security, technology, surveillance, detectors, and boots on the ground in order to get this problem fixed.
All right, I want to ask you a big picture question. This is obviously a very important issue for the Latino community. Here's some stats for you. You probably know these. Back in 2008, President Obama won 67% of the Latino vote. Back in 2012, he won 71% of the Latino vote. It's the largest growing voting bloc out there now. About 10% of the electorate. You know, a lot of critics of the GOP party say you guys have to do a better job of courting the Hispanic vote. Your response to that would be what?
Well, I think certainly passing legislation that would pander to a group just because we want to receive, an election result, I think would be a poor reason to pass immigration reform. I think we need to pass a good bill that does several things. Secures our national border, and our southern border, and focuses on a good legal pathway for folks to come into this country. That means good guest worker programs. That means good skilled worker programs, rural ag worker programs, the whole deal. Right now we're incentivizing illegal behavior and discouraging legal behavior. And I think even in the Hispanic community, they know the immigration system's broken, that our borders process doesn't work, and that we've got to work together, Republicans and Democrats, to fix this. And I think ultimately focusing on the rule of law, focusing on a good legal system in our country, and focusing on securing our national borders, those principles folks will agree with. I'll also say in terms of Hispanic community and many immigrant communities, what they're coming here for is the American dream. And I believe the Republican Party, which focuses on job creation, balancing our budgets, and opportunity for everyone, that those issues actually appeal more to the Hispanic community. And so I think ultimately a good immigration reform, but also focusing on our core principles will help us do better at the polls next year.
Well, it's going to be an interesting thing. We'll be keeping a close eye on Washington over the next few months to see how this immigration reform battle plays out. Congressman Kevin Yoder of Kansas, we appreciate you coming in this morning.